Hi, so in this video I'm going to talk to you about how to create your own formulae from text and then how to use it afterwards as well. So the first example we have here, and I think what really stands out to me and probably for you as well, is that actually these questions do not look like maths questions. They actually look more like English questions because there's lots of writing involved, but they are maths questions, and the key here is to pull out the maths and be able to write it in a simpler form. So the first question we've got here, we've got cans of drink cost 35p and sandwiches cost 80p each. Write a formula for C cans and S sandwiches, and how much would it cost for 2 cans and 3 sandwiches. So first of all we need to work out the letters. Now we've been given the letters for the cans and the sandwiches, but we've not been given a letter for the total cost. Now I would suggest here that we use T for the cost because we've already got C for cans, so we don't want to confuse the letters. So the total cost is going to be equal to, now if you think about it, if I told you in numbers what to do, you'd be able to do it. So it's just because it's algebra, sometimes people get a bit confused with it. So if I said to you I wanted 2 cans of Coke, you would say, okay, well 1 can of Coke is 35p, 2 cans of Coke is going to be 70p. And if you said you wanted, I don't know, 4 sandwiches, you would say 80p times by 4. It's the same principle, but we just have letters instead of numbers. So if I've got C cans, I'm just going to take that 35p and I'm going to times it by C. Now we've just got to remember that when we're doing algebra we have conventions where we don't put a multiply sign and we always put the number in front of the letter. So instead of 35 times C, we're going to write 35C. And we'll do the same with the sandwiches. So if I had 5 sandwiches, I'd do 80p times by 5. So here I've got S sandwiches, so I'm going to do 80p times by S. And I don't put the times in, and I put the number in front of the letter. And then what we're going to do with those two, we're going to add them together. So that's it, there's our formula. Quite nice and straightforward. Then it says how much would it cost for 2 cans and 3 sandwiches. So all we do is replace the letters in the formula with the numbers, which I've been through in a previous video showing you how to substitute numbers into formulae or expressions. So we write 35 times by 2 because we've got 2 cans, plus 80 times by 3 because we've got 3 sandwiches. And then we just work out what that is. 35 times 2, remembering to use BIDMAS, 35 times 2 is 70, 80 times 3 is 240, okay? And then we add those two numbers together and we get 310. Now that's 310p. Normally we write things in pounds, and so I would be tempted to then change that to £3 10p at the end. Now you can, if you want, earlier on you could write this in pounds instead, but I think it looks neater in pence and you can always convert it at the end anyway. Okay, so next example we have a slightly different type of formula. So this time we have an electrician who charges £35 call out fee, so that's before he's even come to your house, and then he charges £25 for every hour that he's there. So the question is to first of all write a formula, and then secondly it tells you the electrician charges £110, and the question is, well, how long was he there for then? So first of all we need our formula. We need to decide on what letters we're going to have because they're not telling you in the question. So let's have T then for our cost again. And this time the only other letter we're going to need is actually how many hours he's there. If you think about it, it's the only other thing in the question that changes, the only other variable. So we can use H for the number of hours. Okay. So the total cost then, now £35 you're going to get charged anyway, and it's not dependent on anything at all. So we don't need to multiply it by anything, we don't need to do anything with it. It's just going to be £35. And then we're going to add on to that how many, £25 for every single hour that the electrician's there. So if he's only there for 1 hour, it's going to cost you 35 plus 25. If he's there for 2 hours, it's going to cost you £35 plus 25 times 2, and so on. So what we need to do is we need to take that 25 and multiply it by the number of hours. So it's just 25h. Now the next question is a bit more tricky, because this time you're not told the number of hours, you're actually told the cost. So we're told that it costs £110 for the electrician to come out, and the question is, how many hours is he there for? So you just write out your formula, you replace in the formula the number that you've been given, so the total cost for 110, and then you solve it like you would any other equation. So the first thing to do would be to take away that call out fee, alright? Because then that gets you how much he's charged you for the number of hours that he's been there. Now if you take out the call out fee, it's now only £75, and that is 25h, and then I think it's quite clear to see that actually it's 3 hours, okay, because what you then do is you divide by 25. So if it costs you £75, then it's cost you that 3 times. But I think it's always good to finish off with a sentence, so we should write, therefore he took 3 hours, and that's how you should finish off a question like this. So there we have it. That's how to create your own formula and then how to substitute in and use that formula.